Nice to see it go all the way, Paul.
It certainly will. This is a cracking game. I'm enjoying this thoroughly.
Every darts player dreams of winning the World Championship, but what happens when that dream becomes your biggest nightmare? Richie Burnett lived this reality. In 1995, he achieved what we all aspire to, becoming BDO World Champion at Lakeside. But the pressures that came with that success would eventually break him. If you've ever wondered how the mental side of darts can destroy even the most talented players, Burnett's story shows how quickly fame and pressure can expose the sheer mental vulnerability required to stay at the very top of professional sport. But before the fall came the rise, and that journey started with a Welsh player nobody saw coming. In 1994, Richie Burnett was grinding through tournaments like thousands of other players trying to make their mark. He wasn't a household name. He wasn't on anyone's list of future champions. The former roofer from Wales was still finding his feet in professional darts. But something clicked that year, and when it did, everything changed fast. The wins started piling up. First the Dutch Open, then the Welsh Open, followed by the British match play. Each victory built momentum. But the real breakthrough came when he beat Steve Beaton to claim the Win More World Masters. One of the two major BDO titles was now his. The darts world was starting to take notice of this Welshman with the explosive throwing style and animated celebrations. By 1995, everyone knew his name.
Lord. That's 6 180s, Taylor.
After his World Masters triumph in late 1994, Burnett entered the BDO World Championship as the world's #1 ranked player and the #2 seed. But Lakeside was different. The BDO World Championship was where careers were made or destroyed, where legends were born or buried. Walking into that tournament, Burnett carried expectations he'd never felt before. Wales was watching. The darts community was watching. The pressure was real. The final against Raymond van Barneveld came down to more than just skill. Both men could throw darts. Both had proven themselves over the previous months. But who could handle the moment when everything was on the line? Who could perform when the lights were brightest and the stakes were highest? Burnett's explosive throwing style had crowds on their feet throughout the tournament. His famous celebration after big shots became as much a part of his game as the darts themselves. When he stepped up for crucial shots, you could feel the electricity in the room. The man had presence and he knew how to use it. The 6-3 victory over Van Barneveld looked comfortable on the scoreboard, but every dart carried weight.
Advantage time here. Andy Fordham getting us underway. What's the third set? It's 1 apiece in sets. 4.
He'd beaten Andy Fordham in the semi-finals to reach this moment, showing the quality of his run to the title. Every leg mattered. Every set brought him closer to something that seemed impossible just 2 years earlier. Burnett later reflected, "Becoming world champion was something I'd always dreamed of. It was simply a great feeling. Just amazing." His confidence during that championship run was unshakable. "I was more than confident in those days and managed to get better as the tournament went on," he said. "In my eyes, I was there to do a job and never felt like I'd lose." That mindset separated champions from also-rans. The Prince of Wales nickname suddenly meant something. He wasn't playing for himself anymore. He was carrying the hopes of an entire nation. Representing everything that made darts special, the idea that a working-class lad from the valleys could reach the absolute top of professional sport. But here's what nobody tells you about winning a world championship. The celebration ends. The cameras go away, and then you wake up the next morning as a marked man.
Just get this leg. Start the next.
What a shot!
Burnett wasn't just another player anymore. He was the target. Every match meant something different now. Players who used to be peers were suddenly hunting for the scalp of the Prince of Wales. The bullseye on his back was massive, and the weight of defending his title started showing almost immediately. The 1996 final against Steve Beaton revealed the first real cracks. Burnett had been on a 9-match winning streak at Lakeside, looking untouchable on the stage, where he'd claimed his crown. But something was different this time. The pressure was getting to him in ways it hadn't before. Beaton took advantage, and Burnett reached the final but couldn't defend his crown. Defending the title for a second consecutive year proved overwhelmingly difficult. The pressure wasn't limited to Lakeside either. After winning the World Masters in 1994, Burnett suffered consecutive upset losses in the finals of that same tournament in 1995 to Eric Claries and 1996 to Colin Monk. The pattern was becoming clear. External pressure was affecting his performance across all the major tournaments. 2 years later, Burnett got his chance for redemption. The 1998 final against Raymond van Barneveld was the rematch everyone wanted to see. These two had history now, and the stakes couldn't have been higher. Burnett needed to prove his first win wasn't a fluke. Van Barneveld wanted revenge. The match went all the way to an 11th set decider. This was the kind of moment that separates real champions from one-hit wonders.
Double 10. 100 left, so treble 20.
60.
The tension was unbearable. Both players knew they were one dart away from glory or heartbreak. Richie had his chance. He stepped up for what should have been the winning dart. A shot at treble 14 that would have left him perfectly positioned on double 20 for the championship. The crowd held its breath. This was his moment to reclaim the crown. He missed. Just missed. The dart landed close enough to show he had the skill, but not close enough to matter. That single miss meant he wouldn't get another chance. Van Barneveld seized the opportunity and closed out the match. The devastation on Burnett's face told you everything. This wasn't about losing a game of darts. This was about watching everything slip away when victory was right there in front of him. The weight of that missed dart would stay with him for years. His brilliant play mixed with these crushing moments under pressure was becoming a pattern. Burnett could reach finals. He could compete with the best players in the world. But when the biggest moments arrived, when the pressure reached its peak, something inside him seemed to crack. 2 lost finals meant the Prince of Wales suddenly looked human. The invincible champion from 1995 was gone, replaced by someone who could falter when it mattered most. The royal image was fading fast. Richie's frustration with the BDO was growing too. He felt the organization was run by amateur people who were vicious and bitter. The PDC was calling, offering bigger prizes and a different kind of competition. But making that jump would test everything he thought he knew about himself.
In that period, 2007, 2008, he was a prodigious 180 hitter, Andy Hamilton. 140.
The PDC move in 1999 dropped Burnett into a completely different world. This wasn't just switching organizations. The Professional Darts Corporation was reshaping what professional darts meant, and Phil Taylor was leading that charge. Taylor's dominance made everyone else look like amateurs, including former world champions like Burnett. Phil Taylor was rewriting the rules of what elite darts looked like. His consistency, his mental strength, his ability to perform under any pressure, it made Burnett's BDO success feel small by comparison. The Prince of Wales had been royalty in his old kingdom, but this was Taylor's empire now. The 2001 World Match Play final against Taylor showed exactly where Burnett stood in this new hierarchy. He reached the final, which was his best televised performance to date in the PDC, and proved he belonged at this level. But Taylor destroyed him 18-10. The gap between having talent and having the consistency to win at the highest PDC level was massive. And that match exposed it completely. Richie Burnett's best runs at the PDC World Championship came in 2002 and 2003, when he reached the quarterfinals both times. These were decent results. Respectable performances. But they weren't the royal treatment he'd enjoyed back in the BDO days. Quarterfinals meant you were good enough to compete, but not good enough to rule.
Raymond.
By 2014, Burnett was fighting just to stay relevant in a sport that had once made him famous. The man who used to headline tournaments was now competing in qualifiers for events he used to dominate. The Prince of Wales was scrambling for scraps, trying to earn his way into fields where he used to be automatically seeded. In November 2014, everything fell apart completely. Burnett tested positive for cocaine at a Grand Slam of Darts qualifier. This wasn't a close call or a marginal case. The test was clear, and the consequences were immediate. UK anti-doping confirmed the positive result in October 2015, and with it came a 2-year ban from professional darts, later reduced to 18 months on appeal. The ban destroyed what little career momentum he had left. Earlier in 2015, he'd already been removed from the World Championship field for personal reasons. He decided not to renew his PDC tour card that same year. Now the cocaine ban made everything official. Richie Burnett was out of professional darts completely. The 18-month ban meant he couldn't return until May 2016, but realistically, needing to regain his tour card after the ban ended.
Ball leaves double 16. Went for treble 14, grits his teeth, fractionally away. 68.
The full span of his timeout was closer to 28 months. Financial hardship hit him like a truck. During a 2024 Modus Super Series interview, Burnett admitted he was skint and desperately needed prize money just to survive. The man who once earned thousands from sponsorship deals and appearance fees was now struggling to afford basic necessities. He couldn't even buy a kettle for his home. The depths of his desperation became clear when he described draining hot, brown water from a radiator to prepare a pot noodle. That's how bad things got. A former world champion was eating cheap instant noodles made with radiator water because he couldn't afford anything better. The fall from darts royalty to this level of poverty was almost impossible to comprehend, but the financial struggles were nothing compared to the mental toll. Burnett later revealed the darkest period of his life during that ban. "I was constantly thinking about suicide. Constantly," he said. He described lying drunk on his kitchen floor in the early hours of the morning, contemplating ending his life completely. "This was the worst time of my life," according to Burnett himself. The depression and hopelessness consumed him. The sport that had given him everything, a world championship, a nickname, fame, purpose, had become his prison. Without darts, he didn't know who he was anymore. The cocaine test wasn't really about drugs. It was about a man who had lost everything that defined him. His identity, his career, his financial security, his mental health, all of it was tied to throwing darts at a board. When that was taken away, there was nothing left to hold on to. From world champion to pariah, Burnett's story seemed finished. But sometimes, the darkest moments reveal what someone is really made of. Burnett's journey back to relevance wasn't easy, but champions find a way to fight. At the 2023 UK Open, he reached the quarter-finals and delivered a dramatic 10-8 comeback victory over world number 2 Peter Wright. His best showing in a ranked televised tournament since 2014 proved the talent was still there underneath all the pain. The real story here goes deeper than drugs or pressure. Professional sport can change everything in an instant. Your world ranking, your income, your entire identity can disappear faster than you think. Mental strength matters just as much as skill when you're competing at the highest level. If this story of pressure and redemption resonated with you, hit the comment section and let me know which darts legend's career struggles we should look at next. The Prince of Wales may have fallen further than most, but his return proves that determination, even when fueled by desperation, can keep a talent fighting.